What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. Today on this fine Tuesday, we're going to continue our builds for y'all with a Cadmus Ridge Lancecap. Now that is a little tongue twister for your Midwestern boy for our Titan right here, giving us some enhanced diamond lances, creates those stasis crystals, and we're having the absolute juice of the build with an exotic that we haven't pulled out in a while. So we're going to cover everything for y'all, starting right here with the exotic armor perk, Lancer's Vigil. So throwing diamond lances create stasis crystals, with more created by hitting bosses and vehicles. While a stasis super is equipped, rapid precision hits and precision final blows behind a rally barricade will create a diamond lance near us. So we're able to create a bunch of different diamond lances with this build, and absolutely love using it. Now when we move on to our Prismatic Titan that we're going to be using, you could go with stasis of course, but having the synergy of some of our fragments as well as even more diamond lances, consecration with this build, absolutely disgusting. So of course we're going to be using our glacial quake so we can get our nice little helmet to proc, rally barricade as well for our exotic aspect of this build, strafe lift for me, with of course a frenzy blade so we can have triple consecration as well as pulse grenade because we're going to have this bad boy jolting enemies as well. Diamond lance, we're going to be able to create a bunch of more diamond lances on top of what we're getting with the rally barricade and that lance cap that we're using on our exotic, with just causing damage with those abilities or shattering stasis weapons, but we're not going to be using stasis weapons on this aspect. So all about the abilities causing that consecration, we're going to get some jolting enemies, etc. So absolutely disgusting. The second aspect, of course, like I was talking about, is that consecration, so we can slide up, giving ourselves a nice little explosion on that downfall with triple of them of frenzied blade. First fragment is facet of courage. Arc solar void abilities deal increased damage to those targets affected by darkness debuffs. For us, that's going to be stasis debuff for sure. So our grenade as well as our consecration is going to do a good little bit of damage because of that. Defeating targets affected by stasis or strand debuffs causes our transcendent energy for light to shoot up. So devotion right here, allowing us to get transcendent very quickly. Now I like this because facet of command, we're going to be able to reload our weapons on freezing those targets. For us, we're going to freeze targets everywhere with this build, our super as well as all the diamond lances that we're creating. Facet of protection, so up close and personal with freezing those targets. Consecration, we're going to get that resistance to incoming damage when we are surrounded, so nice for that survivability. Like I was talking about, facet of dominance right here, giving us that jolt on our arc grenade, which will help us to in turn do more damage, create even more diamond lances because that is part of causing an ability weakness on enemies. Awesome for farming these diamond lances up here, with of course facet of ruin, so our explosion on our consecration as well as the stasis crystal frozen targets that we're getting with all these diamond lances and freezing is going to create even bigger AoE damages. So adding to the ad clear side of this build, if you will, or just the potential for this build to clear really any type of content. As for our mods and stats that we're building this out to, resilience definitely our number one, so we can get that rally barricade back, as well as discipline, having this up so we can get that jolt grenade up consistently, as well as special ammo finder for what we're using in our breach grenade launcher, arc siphon as well as harmonic siphon, so we can get that up consistently, with orbs of power getting our super back, as well as that armor charge momentum transfer giving us grenade energy, or I should say melee energy when we do damage with our grenade, and vice versa, we get grenade energy when we do damage with our melee. So a little positive feedback loop there. Harmonic loader for both our heavy as well as our kinetic weapon that we're using, which is also stasis. Arc resistant concussive dampener with harmonic reserve, so we can carry more stasis weapon ammo. And then on top of that, we're going to have elemental charge, so all of those stasis shards that we are collecting are going to have us a chance to get that armor charge, which we are using actually for font of restoration to give us recovery at 90, because this will give us 3 stacks of that recovery when we do have armor charge. Orbs of restoration as well as recuperation, so we're going to get health back as well as our abilities, with powerful attraction right here giving us orbs of power when we use our rally barricade, as well as bomber, again helping us to get our arc grenade and create that jolt everywhere, which will give us even more of those diamond lances. As for our weapons, which I really truly like these, we're gonna have the Lost Signal, Lead from Gold Reverberation right here, giving us some crazy synergy with getting Prismatic very quickly, as well as the Stasis side of things. Symmetry, this is the exotic that I was talking about that I know a lot of people probably haven't pulled out of their vault in a second, but we're gonna get that dynamic charge, everything on this build, causing damage with this, stunning those anti-barrier champions. It is a good little combination that we get in addition to all the freezing that we're getting standing behind that rally barricade. And last but certainly not least, chain of command right here, adrenaline junkie and demo on this, giving us some juice to our grenades, giving us some grenade energy on those defeats as well. So good little feedback loop that we have with the weapons as well as with that grenade jolting, creating even more of those diamond lances, what I was talking about, using the scout rifle to stand behind that barricade, create even more diamond lances. It is a beautiful little synergy that we have. Now, when we move on to our artifact, last but certainly not least, breach grenade launcher for that Lost Signal, as well as anti-barrier scout, like I said, for symmetry. One with frost. While we do have frost armor, stasis weapons gain increased reload stability, which is nice for both our grenade launcher as well as our heavy. Rapid weapon final blows grant us mobility. Rapid impacts, again, giving us that faster reload speed on our grenade launcher. Right here, super nice. We're going to get some ionic traces as well because of all of the jolt that we're getting with that grenade that I have on. Armor of Aramis, creating that nice little freezing burst when we do have frost armor, which we will get on this build pretty easily with the amount of slow freezing that we got going on. Hailstorm right here, shattering crystals, releases the shards of damage and slow. This is definitely one of the best perks that you can have for the stasis synergy of our artifact this season. Those little like jettisons that come out of shards of ice is super nice. Brain freeze, frozen targets create a slowing field around them that also helps add to the aspect of this build, creating even more frozen, even more diamond lances. Concussive reloader right here, weakening those champions, bosses, as well as breaking combatant shield with that grenade launcher that we are using, as well as last but not least, arc abilities, void abilities, and weapons with that dark Aether origin trait do bonus damage to targets affected by that stasis debuff. So our arc abilities and weapons with our grenade as well as our symmetry are going to do more damage on those stasis affected targets, which we're going to get slow and freezing pretty consistently with this build like I was talking about. So a good combination of everything with this build. A fun little bit of stasis ice cap that we got was playing onslaught with it. You can clear out waves and waves of enemies with this build. You can use all of our different weapons. That stasis Lost Signal is going to give us transcendent energy, very quickness for the darkness side. Then we use symmetry to get our lightness, consecration to get our lightness. Then we're going to have that transcendent, which on a stasis, or I should say Prismatic Titan, is pretty disgusting. So love it. Definitely think those Titans should give this bad boy a try. Can take it into really any type of content like I said. But again, I appreciate all you guys for coming back to the channel, checking out all of these builds, guys that we have for god rolls, etc. Don't be afraid to like and subscribe to the video. Join the Discord if you have not. Hit that bell, of course, because you can get those notifications so you don't miss out on any of the bangers that we put out here on the channel. But again, I appreciate all you guys as always for coming back, hanging out. Means a lot to me, means a lot to the channel, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.